Welcome back to Switch to Linux. We have another outdoor philosophy. I am back here in Lederer Park, and I just choose this park more often than not because there's actually a good half a mile or so at least of woods I can walk through while I'm reading. The other big one with a lot of walking space, there's two other huge ones with walking space in this town, and that's Orchard Park is probably my second favorite because of the nice little alcoves I can find, and then the third one is Two Deck Park, which is, I don't like that one as much because it's more of a big open field. So we are on to, what are we on, chapter 8 in The Power of Focus, book that we have been looking at on the outdoor philosophy. And there's a couple funny little things about this. First, this is the one that I almost missed, and it's on persistence. Yeah. Anyone else see the irony there? Yeah, I do. I almost missed it just because I'm in the middle of doing this big book study right now on another book that's it's quite horrendous, but still I want to cover it. I want to cover that study thoroughly, and I just want to get it done this week. And so there's 12 chapters in it. I think I'm on 9 or so ish. I don't know, 8 or 9, somewhere around there. And I'm hoping to finish it by the end of the weekend so I can get back to normal life, normal study. I've actually taken my morning study time and my evening writing time to write this. And it will eventually be a blog post on my Christian site. But for now, I did want to get the time in to do Power Focus on persistence. And I guess, persistence is something that we have to keep in mind. What is it that causes, for example, a YouTube channel to grow? Well, persistence and consistence. And that is the thing that I try and do a video every day. Now, there's days that I will take a day off, usually no more than one day off per week. Like this week, I'll probably take Saturday off unless something else short comes up that's pressing that I can do. I'm not really banking on that because I also have a lot of things, so I'm expecting Saturday to have a day off. But for the most part, though, I'm trying to do a video every single day, and that's that part of consistence. Just being consistent and persistent with whatever we do in and of itself is one of the greatest things that we can do throughout our life. And so with that, I love this little cartoon here. There's a guy, he accidentally listened to his motivational tapes backwards and become a failure. So don't do that. Don't consistently listen to your motivational tapes backwards. If you're going to listen to motivational tapes, forward is the way to go. Just letting you know that, But what's neat here is, of course, the most popular story of consistency of all time. That's hilarious because now I've read it twice this week. The other book I'm reading also had the story, but it is of Cal Ripken Jr. Now, Cal Ripken Jr. has a different quote and commentary in John Maxwell's, I think it's 21 Laws of Irrefutable Leadership or whatever. One of those 21 leadership books that John Maxwell did. That's actually a verse in there that got me through graduate school. I mean, I almost quit grad school, but I decided to keep through. And that quote was that you never quit in the valley. If you decide to quit something, you quit from the mountaintop. So you quit at the highs, not at the lows, because there's going to be lows in everything we do. And if we allow ourselves to quit because the going gets tough, we're going to be stuck in mediocrity the rest of our life. And that's not where you want to be. But the other story here, of course, Cal Ripken Jr. has the world record for the most consistent starts. Cal Ripken Jr. In September 6, 1995, he beat Lou Gehrig's record, which had not been beaten for more than 56 years. And he played 2,131 consecutive games without missing a single one. That's a lot of baseball, I gotta say. Now, I am not a sports guy at all. I really, honestly, hope it doesn't offend you, I could care less what people do when they hit a ball with a stick or throw a piece of pigskin. I just think we put too much focus on that. The same thing with movies and music. We just put way too much emphasis on the movies and the music and the sports. Like, why is it the Super Bowl ad sells for so much money? To me, it's a little scary. But I'm glad that some people like to do that, and that it provides an out for people who are not, might otherwise do bad things. Great for that. Happy for everybody to have their own thing. Suit yourself in that respect. But that being said, this is the second time this week I've read the story of Cal Ripken Jr. talking about consistency. Must be important. Let's follow Cal Ripken Jr. when it talks about consistency. And of course, both books made the comment that all he did is he showed up day in, day out, and day in to do his day job, which he loved. And that's kind of the difference. And so they kind of introduced that as the means to stop and say, be consistent in what you're doing. Now, they did a couple little things here, and I thought that this was an interesting perspective, because they wanted you to stop in the middle of this. There's all these activities at the end of each chapter, but what they wanted to do is they wanted to stop right here, and they wanted you to write down the top 6 things that you have to do, and what are your feelings about it. So you stop right there. Then for the next 3 months, what are the top 6 things that you have to do? And they use this as kind of a way to turn it around on you to say, you know what? You don't have to do anything. Even if it's pay taxes. You don't have to. There will be consequences if you don't, but you do not have to. And so the entire purpose of consistency is choosing what you're going to do. And that was the point that they were making. When things move in from a have to do something to a choose to do something, you gain a completely different perspective on what that thing is. And so with that respect, when you can convert all of these have to things to you choose to things, like for example, if you work and you don't like your work, then you can sit there and you go, oh, I have to go to my work. And I was totally impressed with, I mentor a young man, and we were praying last week, and when I see him, sometimes I'll pick him up or take him to work or whatever else. In fact, he was just finishing up a job for a farmer, probably for the summer, as he transitions to a new job. And as we're praying, he's praying and he's saying, thank you, God, that I have this job and that I can go to this job and do something productive with my life. This is a 17-year-old kid who is praying to God, giving praise to God for giving him a job. Guys, there are people in my neighborhood that don't work. They could work, but they choose not to work because it's just too hard. And there's even a person on YouTube. I'm not going to speak the creature's channel name because I don't want to potentially risk giving more views that way. But I watched a few of the videos. Mostly they were brought to my attention through another channel. And the person's like, and I'll give you a little tip. The video's like, why I will never get a job or something like that. And it's literally the person's like, this creature is just like, I'm too talented to work, and I think free money should just be handed to me. And I'm just very glad that I was in a different state than this person. Was like, I slap him silly. But where I live, there's a lot of people who don't have jobs, who don't want to get jobs, because if you get a job, you won't get your free money. And I'd rather have the same amount of money for free than have to go work it. But that's a problem with our society. Now, if you're not from America, understand there's a lot of Americans with that attitude. And that's why this country is just right on down the tubes. Because we are so bothered by the distraction of work, and we need to stop being bothered by the distraction of work. We have to turn the have to go to work into a get to go to work. I get to go to work. And when you can change that, not just in your words, but in your attitude itself, then you can get to this point where you are now living a persistent life because you're choosing to. I'm sorry, I keep on shifting because I'm in the most uncomfortable position you could ever get into, but it's the best thing I can do. What I really need to do is find a nice camera mount for an iPhone. If anybody knows of a good camera mount for an iPhone, let me know. I haven't looked, by the way. I'm just, whatever. Spending money. Why spend money? I found some sticks on the ground. I can make a makeshift camera mount. Come on, I'm a minimalist here. Use what's around you, man. Usually I go to the other place and I stick the phone in a log or something, but this case here, I found a picnic table, but I don't like it when you have the camera's down here and you're looking up, kind of like one of these, I just think the video quality just doesn't look as good, but this I think looks a little bit better. So I'll deal with a little bit of miscomfort for 10, or 20, 30, or 15 or 20 minutes is what I'm shooting for these videos. Of course, they go into the story of Wilma Rudolph, who, due to polio, was told you'd never walk again, and she ended up being like I think a gold medal Olympist. Yeah, don't listen to the doctors always. They don't always know what they're talking about, you know. Listen to them and then decide, choose whether you're going to take their advice or not. And of course, choose wisely. Why not? You know, choose wisely. Because what we're talking about here as far as choosing wisely is a lot of people are stuck in their circumstances and their situations because of the bad choices that they have often made in their life. And that's one of those things that we need to get out of, is we need to push ourselves into a circle where we can breed more success rather than breed more failure. And so they have this consistency circle. So I'll show you that there real quick. All right. And so for the words on the consistency circle, okay, they say you start here at making better choices every day, and then better choices will develop better habits. If you remember that statement, I think I talked about it in one of the earlier videos here. Check, I think it was the first or second video, and maybe it's the second or third video in the playlist. It's the first video where I'm talking about the power of focus. And I read a section from my book, Testing and Temptations, where I write, you know, it's more than just a business trend, but it's a reality that when you sow a habit, let's see, when you do an action, you sow a habit. When you, let's see, okay. When you sow a thought, you reap an action. When you sow an action, you reap a habit. When you sow a habit, you reap a character. When you sow a character, you reap a lifestyle. I think that's the way I had expressed it there, which I had stolen from someone else. Maybe it was even this book. I don't remember. But you know, hey, that's the way you do it. Rehash some things, expose it to more people. Give credit where you remember. Okay. But here they say making better choices every day. So if you want to lose weight, make the choice every day to get up and just do something small. And it could be something as small as taking a walk every day. And then that develops better habits. And then with better habits, you develop a better character. Maybe it is from this, I don't remember. You develop better character. And then a better character, now this is where they diverge a little bit. They say a better character makes you more valuable. And I'm seeing, you know, as an employee, a person with better habits, like the salesman who is in the habit of getting over that fear and picking up the phone and making 100 phone calls before noon, is going to be the salesman who, you know, who is successful. But there's actually another book, and I've never read it, but I love the title. It says, Timid Salesmen Have Skinny Kids. Of course, the implication meaning that if you let the fear overcome you in that sales type position, you are going to get to the point where you can't feed your family. So be careful. But as it makes you more valuable, I hope that they mean something like, you know, valuable employee, because as people, we are all valuable. Number 5, making you more valuable attracts bigger and better opportunities. And this is true. You know, you will not move from a position of I'm too talented to work to being a CEO or something like that, or even having a good job if that's your attitude on life. Okay, but the more valuable you make yourself, the more opportunities you can attract your way. Was it Thomas Edison? It wasn't Thomas Edison. Somebody in that era, maybe it was Thomas Edison, maybe it was Benjamin Franklin. I forget exactly who said the quote, but the quote said, "It is amazing how much opportunity finds prepared and consistent people." There's something to that general effect. Maybe it was Thomas Edison. That sounds like something he would say. Number 6, of course, attracting better opportunities allows you to contribute more. And then giving and contributing more gives you bigger and better rewards. And then bigger and better rewards can oftentimes give you better decisions. And so that becomes this full consistency cycle where we are consistently choosing to do different things. And, you know, as the Alcoholics Anonymous motto says, you know, insanity is doing the same things and expecting different results. And so you have to keep that in mind as well. So here's a few examples to consider if you are stuck in habits. You know, choose not to watch 3 hours of television every night. You know, maybe it's choose not to watch 3 straight hours of Netflix. Now, some of us, like me personally, I thrive when I'm watching something particularly necessarily something I've seen before. So I actually get a very large portion of my work done at night. I'll watch 1 or 2 movies as I'm getting a lot of work done. And that's actually when the best, most consistent work that I do comes out, is somewhere between midnight and 3 to 4 a.m. I'll put on 1 or 2 movies that I'm very familiar with. I'll watch them leaning back on the couch with a computer, and that is where I get the vastest majority of my best programming done. For whatever reason. I don't know. I don't do as well sitting in the big office surrounded by the bake of computers, mostly because I just get bothered by phone calls and emails all day. But Number two is I choose not to waste my time reading sensationalist newspapers and trashy magazines. Yeah, if you're watching any of that type of junk, just excise it from your life. There's no place it has. And then, of course, choose not to become a workaholic. I can work a whole lot more because I don't have any family. But, if you have a family, you have to learn how to do more balance. However, I will throw in that caveat as far as choose not to be a workaholic. I have very sacred times in my day. No, you can call me all you want. I'm not going to respond. I will not be picking up the phone. I'm sorry. Deal with it. Not going to happen. And so with that, my phone is beeping something. It usually doesn't beep. I hope I'm not running out of space. I shouldn't be. I cleared data off a while ago. But I have very set times that I will not allow you to interfere with that time. I take specific time to study, specific time for exercise. Those are non-working times for me. It's just not going to happen. And so in that respect, yeah, I do choose not to become a workaholic, although I get a lot more done than most people do. It's not all because I'm, a single guy. It is because I choose to put my time into worthwhile things. And that's that difference. I have a lot of people accuse me like, well, I could do too if I was single. No, you would be just as lazy sitting down on your butt watching just as much television as you do now. I just choose not to do that, and I choose to focus time to do a video, and focus time to do work, and focus time to do study, and focus time to do exercise. I have the power of focus. And that's actually why I read this book every few years, is so I can refresh myself on this stuff, because this stuff is key. It's not that I'm single, that's why I accomplish a lot. I accomplish a lot because I choose to. I don't get bogged down into the latest television shows, sports scores, or whatever else I'm doing. I choose to get out and do something else. So that's that thing, and that's why they keep on coming back to this, is choose to do different things. They're talking about integrity. So they wrap up this chapter with the integrity factor. When you always tell the truth, people trust you. Shocking, If I have a conversation, like I had a conversation this afternoon with a client on potentially new projects, it's like, I just need to know these by tomorrow. I did not stop until I had them up, because I knew if I stopped doing it, I would not get them to him on his time frame. So I just kept going until I had them for him. He had to run off for a different meeting. I stayed on the computer at the time and got him the information he needed. So if you have that promise, do it. So number 2, of course, is when you do what you say as promised, people respect you more. And then number 3, of course, is when you make others feel special, people like you. So that is the summary on being consistent and being persistent. I hope that is beneficial to you out there. Just do the next right thing. Do the next right thing. Do the next right thing. If you need to take a list, make a list. If you need to take a walk, take a walk. Just do the next right thing. So I hope that this was beneficial to you. Welcome to another outdoor philosophy. Well, I guess thanks for watching another outdoor philosophy, since I'm done with the video. And with that being said, I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.